I am alive and it's good to be alive. What's up everybody? I am here in Warframe today. What is the best character slash frame in the game? Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I think this is pretty much up to personal opinion for the most part. There's a lot of different frames that are good at a lot of different things that might complement people's play styles differently. But if you want my honest opinion, it is hands down gonna be Saryn. Saryn is my go-to frame. She is the frame that I'm going to pick if I'm going to do something tough and hard and I'm not sure what to expect and I know that I need to pull through. It's going to be Saryn, guys. I'm going to go ahead and show you the build that I have on her and why it's good. So basically, one of the things that makes her so effective is I'm a huge fan of frames who can maintain their health. They can sustain themselves. So she's got this Regenerative Molt ability, and this is immensely helpful. Once you cast your Molt ability, which not only draws the enemy's fire away from you and deals damage once it explodes, but it also causes you to regenerate 50 health every 10 seconds. Well, 50 health per second for 10 seconds total. That's a lot of health, you guys. That's 500 health. That's not bad. So, and you can, I'm pretty sure if you spam it, it goes a little bit faster too in healing you. Also streamline and fleeting expertise so I can use her abilities more, which is great for Regenerative Molt because I don't really need duration on it because the duration for which I'm going to be healed is going to be the same no matter what my power's actual duration is. But I've got some prime continuity in here to counteract that. Maybe not the best build. You guys can have something better. Let me know. And then I have Stretch to add a little bit of power range, and Steel Fiber and Vitality, of course, to emphasize on that healing. I'm going to show you guys why I think she's so good, and why I absolutely love using her for difficult missions or whatever it is that I have to do. So I'm trying to think of a hard mission that I could do. I guess a Derelict Defense might not be too bad, huh? Especially if I play it on solo. Something that I absolutely love about Saryn is how her powers work together. She's probably one of my favorites because I think just about every power that she has in her tool set is useful. There's some frames where, you know, I only like maybe 1 or 2 powers that they have, but I like every single power Saryn has. Except for her ultimate, which it's not that it's bad, I just don't care for it. It's pretty standard, you know, area of effect attack. Not as good as it used to be, which is fine because they made just about all of her other attacks better. I'm going to show you why I think Saryn is so good. So her first ability, Spore, you'll see they create these like bubbles on enemies, these like sort of swollen spores on them. And what that does is not only causes the enemy to take damage over time for each spore that they have, but if I hit an enemy, it detonates the spore and causes it to proc. This in turn spreads it to any other nearby enemies, and so on and so forth. So let's say I cast this ability once on an enemy and kill him. That spore then spreads to all enemies around him. Kill those enemies. Those spores then spread. And it just, you'll see once I get into a later wave and I use it against a massive group of enemies how it just weakens an entire army. It's immensely helpful. I'll see if I can take some damage here so I can show you why Regenerative Molt is good. I'll let them do a lot of damage to me so you can see how effective it is. So you'll see I'm at 200 health now. Go ahead and cast Regenerative Molt. And not only that, but watch, if I spam it, it detonates and causes damage to them. And you'll see I'm already at full health, you guys. It is super helpful. It distracts the enemy and gives you plenty of time to heal. Also, I'll go ahead and show you guys. I like to call this the choo-choo train of death. If you spam her Molt ability over and over, you can only have 1 Molt active at a time. So naturally, if you recast it, it detonates your previous Molt, like that one over there. See how it detonated as soon as I cast this one. So what you can do is run past enemies, and you just spam the Molt ability, and you basically become a train of death. Unless it's going to be against an Ancient or something like that. Also, what's nice about your Molt is you can cast spores on your Molt, wait for enemies to get close, and then you can attack the spores off of your Molt, and they will then spread to any nearby enemies. Or you can let the enemies do it. If you put the spores on your Molt, the enemies will come over and hit it or shoot at it or whatever and spread it themselves. Observe. I'm gonna do it. No. Okay, so I'll go ahead and hit this. And you'll notice now that all these enemies around me are taking damage. And if I kill them, those spores then spread. And look at that. I hit like 2 people and it killed everyone that was over here, you guys. Now on to her third ability. I believe this adds, I think, viral damage. It does, I'm pretty sure it's viral damage to your melee. Increases your base melee and gives it viral damage. It also increases your status chance, I think. And it's particularly good at proccing your spores, as if it wasn't easy enough. So she has moves that heal her and distract the enemy. She has crowd control. She has a move that increases her melee damage. And then her ultimate, of course, which is just the radial, poisons everyone around you. One of the reasons all of her powers mix together, so let's say I do this, and this, and this, I cast her first, her second, and her third ability all together. The reason this just pretty much insta-kills anything I touch is because it deals 3 different types of elemental damage. It does corrosive, viral, and poison damage. If I have that right, I might have that wrong. But guys, it deals 3 different elements. It is immensely effective against the infested. Because I know a couple of the infested are weak against different kinds of acid damage, like viral and toxin and corrosive. But when you have all of those at your disposal, there's no infested enemy that you can't take down. For example, I'll cast a ton of spores on this guy and smack him, and now look, you'll see all those damage numbers popping up above the enemy. So if I just keep casting spore on my Molt over and over again until there's a whole bunch, all I have to do pretty much is attack my Molts, and it kills everything. See, that guy up there is having a hard time. It also weakens and will stun them sometimes. So sometimes they'll stop moving from the pain, which is pretty helpful. I'm going to go ahead and show you the ult in action. It's just that. It's great against weaker enemies. It's not really going to do the trick against tougher enemies. And I usually avoid using it because it does detonate your spores. So let's say I've got spores on this guy and I use it, it detonates those. Which is good, because any enemy that has a spore explode on them, they take extra damage. But the reason I refrain from that is because I'd rather my spores continue spreading and infecting the enemies. So a lot of times if I do this, it detonates all the spores, which is a good short-term boost to damage, but then, you know, I have to recast all my spores again. And also, if you wanted, you can also pop her spores with a gun, should you so choose, like the Ignis. As you can see, look at that. They're all dead. I just shot the spores off of my Molt and it killed all the enemies over there. I assure you, it's even more effective against stronger enemies. These guys are so weak right now, it just kind of kills them instantly. Alright, you guys, I'm on wave 14, and I just wanted to show you guys, now that I've come a little further in the level, wanted to show you the full extent of why her powers are so good, and show you guys just what she can do without hardly even having to try, to be honest. Alright guys, and that is what Saryn is capable of, and I was barely trying, to be honest. So honestly, if you haven't gotten Saryn yet, or there's a reason you're waiting, I highly recommend you get her, even if she's not a character that you're very interested in. If you need to do a really hard mission, I promise she's gonna pull through. Again, like I said, she's my go-to frame. I've never had too many missions that she can't take out, if any, really. So anyways, guys, oh, and one last thing. I wanted to point out her passive, because I totally forgot what it was, even. Okay, status effects upon enemies last longer. So if you inflict an enemy with any status effect, fire, etc., it lasts longer. So obviously helpful, considering all of her abilities pretty much deal an elemental damage type. Anyways, guys, again, this is very much up to opinion. There's a lot of good frames in this game that I really enjoy. This is just the one that I would honestly consider to be the best, the one that always pulls through for me. If you guys have a different opinion, that's cool. Comment down below and let me know why and who it is. If there's any other videos that you guys would like me to make on frames you'd want me to cover or what I would use in certain situations, feel free to. And I hope the video was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Have a great day.